I can't find my
You're live. I'm sorry, there's no intro music.
Oh, okay. That's good. I'm okay with that. Who needs music?
Yeah, that's right. Who
No, we
needs
do. We love music. What am I saying?
to sing? All right. So this is Determined Women 21. Brand
Wow.
year, no more fear. It's happening, right? I love you, Zoe. I had to start the year off with Zoe Anastassiou. She is a phenomenal actress. And you're going to learn a lot about her today. Her bio is on the website, so I'll spare you reading her bio, but she does television, she does stage, and she does everything else in between. And she does it marvelously. I know this about Zoe. She memorizes the script on a dime all the time. Not only does she know her role, but she'll know everyone else's. And I can see her wheels turning when somebody's slow to answer. So, or call for line. So she's brilliant. She really is brilliant. And she's a shining star. Do you, Zoe, remember the day we met?
I was trying to think of that, and I don't know if I know exactly. I know I came to see a play of yours, and I think it was that I met you in the audience, right? And it was like a festival of plays, and I was watching all of them, and I really loved your play. Loved it.
Well, yes.
Am I wrong?
Blue, and
You talked about my memory, and my memory is bad, isn't it?
we met through Liz Amadeo, and we were doing the first voir dire project, Sky Blue. And I remember there was a light in you. I mean, you talk about people taking a shine to you, talk about people being a light, stars are lights. And interesting thing, Zoe looked at me and said, I loved your play. I said, I love your hair. She was just beaming. She was beaming. And then I found out who you were and what you did. And I came to see a play of yours. And it was just, after that, it was love at first.
It is funny. It's like that connection you feel, because I hadn't worked with you, and I fell in love with you because of your work. And I was like, of course I would do something by you. You've never met me, you've never auditioned me, but you're brilliant.
Aw. Well, Zoe, tell us first of all about your heritage. Well, this is wonderful. She has
the crazy
background. So tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I'm half Greek, half Australian. And I was born in England, and I was raised in England till 18, and then I came to the States, and so I have all these 4 different countries my whole life. Actually, I've came to the States every year of my life, because I used to ski race and ski in Colorado. So America, yeah, it was in Colorado every year, and so America is a big part of who I am. And I sound very British, even though I was born there, but I do consider myself more Greek than anything, I think.
Well, so tell me about the ski racing. Tell us about.
I don't know. I grew up, my parents fell in love with, the Greeks like to migrate together. So apparently Vale Mountain was founded by Greek shepherds. Anyway, so I guess people talk and they said, oh, the Greeks go skiing here, you should go skiing here. And my parents loved it and fell in love with Colorado. I mean, Colorado is beautiful. And every Christmas we spent in Colorado skiing, and I was skiing at the age of 1.5, apparently on some elastic thing. So I'd go too fast and they'd yank me back. There you go, determined women from age 1. No, but I was willing to just get down that mountain, but I fell in love with skiing. I loved it. And we had a ski instructor who thought I had potential. So I started racing. I raced from my boarding school in England. And then I raced for Greece actually for a little bit, and I actually went to Middlebury College thinking that I would ski because they had their own ski mountain, and I never actually skied, so that was great. But I knew I wanted to be an actor, so acting always took the #1 spot. So if the skiing training got in the way of the stage, then the skiing had to go. But yeah, I love skiing.
How did you know you always wanted to be an actress?
Well, it's funny because I don't have that identifying moment. I really wish I do. I listen to people's interviews and hear this like, oh, I saw blah, blah on stage doing this beautiful role and I fell in love and I wanted to be an actor. Or I grew up in the arts and I was backstage from the wings and I wanted to be an actor. And I get asked this question a lot and I don't have an answer. And I felt like that was always such a weird feeling because I didn't have that defining moment that made me want to be an actor. I felt like it's just who I was from the very first day. And I asked my mom the other day, actually, I was like, was there a time that I don't remember, that I just went, oh, I want to be an actor because of that. And she said, nope, you just popped out of the womb and you were just born to entertain from the beginning. I was like, okay.
That's great. And you do entertain. It's thoroughly
entertain. It probably meant annoying when I was little, because
I used to dance on the coffee table when my grandparents came over.
I can see you doing that now, actually.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't have tables anymore, but I still dance.
But I used to put on shows and charge my family to come watch it. And if they said something, I had to start from the beginning. I was like, you ruined it. We got to start again.
Well, you know, it was funny. My two daughters would do that. And my Mary, the younger one, was always very, very serious. Katie, who was Mary, that was the dancer, Katie would always sit there and come in with a Carol Burnett thing with a mop or something. And no, start over. We're starting over, folks. You know, and she would just look at us. I was like, okay.
Like, here we go again. Here goes another hour.
I actually started writing for the stage because I wasn't allowed to go outside when I was little. So I remember those moments when I was really little. I was allergic to everything in the world. And I couldn't go outside. I was allergic to the grass, the pollen, the flowers, the air. And I was like a bubble kid. And so I just casement windows and watch outside at them playing. And I make up my own stories. So, you know, I was destined for this. And as far as the stage, no, I don't want to be an actor. I'm a playwright. That's all I do. You are such a fine actress, Zoe. You're absolutely compelling. And I mean that when we watch you, we watch like every move you make. And Zoe actually did a play of mine where she played two characters and the narrator, and it was so fascinating. It was called The Storyteller. And we have a little bit of news for you that we're going to take this. Next year is the 200th anniversary of Grease, and we're going to take this. It's called Garrett the Blue Giraffe, and we turned it into a one-woman show called The Storyteller. And now we're going to turn it back into something different. I'm not sure what, but that my friends of ours have opened a new opera house in Crete, and it was done as an opera. It like 2001 by Robert Ugal, and he actually did it as Garrett the opera. And I just spoke with him, and he said he would love to combine the idea. So we're going to be doing something unusual next year, and that'll be
such a powerful story. I mean, that's what you write, Connie. You never have anything but powerful plays.
People ask me if it's a kid's story, and I say it could be, because it's a story about acceptance and accepting who you are, you know, which I think is the importance of theater.
Yeah, and of today, because it's the right time to be doing that. That's for sure. Yeah.
I think I think everybody's going to come out of this. I just was on an interview yesterday, and they asked me if I thought it was going to be the same when we come out. And I said, I don't think so. I think we're going to be different. And I think it's going to be for the better. And I think as artists, we're going to be ushering in the new golden age. I think we have new technologies. I think we have all kind of things at our fingertips, and things are going to change. And it's those of us that want to explore.
But how great is that to be given? I know this is a horrible time, but you know, and it's not been the time for a lot of things that have been trying to push through this medium. They just have to wait. I mean, and it's sad, but I think that we will come out stronger because we are now used to so much multimedia, and I think that that's such a powerful tool to use in a play. And why not use it? I don't know. It's a great idea.
And I think the whole idea of the audience interacting, I think television is great. I love television, but it only goes one way, like typical television. Now with interaction, I feel like something more is happening, and we're on the precipice of this. So the Greeks.
The Greeks, they founded everything, Connie. Side note.
And we're ready to do it again, man. I'm not Greek by birth, but somehow, well, supposedly.
No, you have Greek in you somewhere. I don't know.
Supposedly I have 17% in me.
What?
But Greek friends just nail me immediately, you know, like, I know you're Greek, you're coming to Greece. And I did. I went to Greece 2 years ago, and I just fell in love with it. I was there. I was eating dinner across from the Acropolis, you know, it was fascinating. It's fascinating. And I meant to be there, you know. But the Greeks say that theater is to entertain, to educate, and to exalt the human spirit. Speak on that last part. What does that mean to you on stage? What does exalting the spirit mean? What does that mean to you with the audience?
I mean, we talk about what's going to happen when we come out of this. And I think it goes back to that a little bit, because why I think theatre will never die is this live experience. It's the interaction that you talk of. We crave it. That's why we watch this stuff, why we're not just sitting in our rooms reading or whatever. We are reaching out in a way. And I think being on stage, especially with exalting the spirit, excuse me, it's something that's like a gift. If you are willing to open yourself up and take it all in and be in the moment, I mean, it gives you like it's giving me goosebumps right now. I don't think you can see that through the screen, but it's like it's a sort of an unexplainable feeling. And all you can do really is let it out and let you feel it, and hopefully you do feel it, because there's no way to explain it. I know it means to educate as well, and you have to get the story across, and you have to get the character across, and you've got all these elements, and you might be taken out by the candy wrapper, and you might be really tired, but when you have that powerful moment and you just let it go and do it, that the spirit of the play and the character and everything just literally takes over you like a blanket, and it's amazing.
It is amazing.
Giving me, honestly, I've never felt so many goosebumps. My whole legs are in goosebumps.
It is. Well, it's really something, it's unusual. And it's interesting, Zoe. I have a play called The Shadow Dancer that I wrote in 1994. And it's about after the disaster in New York. There's 3 characters that meet on a bridge that come together. One's an actor, an actress. One is a composer for the church, and one is a painter. And the disaster happens, and all the theaters are closed, all the churches are closed, and all the galleries are closed. So they're mourning their art, but they meet and they come together to save the girl who's about to jump in the off the Brooklyn Bridge, and the priest grabs him to grab her, and together the 3 of them have this magical thing happen. So I think you're absolutely, and I wrote that in 94. I had no, what was going to happen, but that's why I love writing, because just things come through me to put out there, and I don't know what's next. And then, when I give it over to the actors, and this, I give my work to you and I say, bring it alive. I mean, I've been called a bad mother because I don't really nurture my work.
No, I don't agree with that.
I think it's actually important to collaborate like that and to give over your work to people. I love actors. I really adore actors. And when I find actors that are doing what you do, and it's easy to see. I mean, it's in my training as an actor, my small stint with that when I was studying it as an undergrad, I learned about the actor and the audience coming together, the true communion, and Stanislavski and all that. And, that's very important. But as I was teaching in my later years, I was teaching theater classes. And one of the things that I realized, what I really wanted to do in my advanced academics, was to understand the creative process, the stages of creative form. We are all human life forms. We can conform, reform, deform. But when we perform, we perfect the form, right? And why do we do that? Well, I think it's because we have to adjust concentration and attention. And concentration, you're concentrating on your role. Attention, you have to pay attention to everybody else. So it's kind of like a yin yang thing. It's an infinity. And that's when you step into that moment of forever. Now, the moment.
It's trust. You're trusting it. You've got to trust it. That's
exactly. It. Tell us a little bit about your master's degree and when you came here. Tell us a little bit about your education.
So again, America's been a big part of my life, but I went to Middlebury College and did a degree in theater, but I also did a degree in psychology, and I didn't ever intend to be in psychology, but I figured that for me, I was not obsessed, but I loved human behavior. I just loved watching. I could sit in a cafe in Greece all day and just watch. And it's not judging, there's no judging, it's just literally like absorbing everything that I could. And that's why I love to watch movies and TV and theater and get everything I could, not, you know, just to, not, maybe not on a conscious level, but that's sort of something that I really liked. And I thought that at the time, why do 1 degree? Let's do 2. And too much work, but it was fascinating to learn sort of like the case studies about human behavior. And so I did a whole degree in psychology as well as theater. Of course, my parents thought that I was going to become, you know, some scientist, and they were really happy. But I was like, no. I'm just going to pay a psychologist on TV. It's okay. But that was my my training, and I loved it. And then I wanted to continue. I felt like, you know, knowledge never stops. We never stop learning, and like, what can I get? And I was obviously an international kid, so staying in this country meant that I either had to find the love of my life and get married, or go back to school, because you could stay on your visa. And like, that's really what I wanted to do. I wanted to learn more. I never intended to, I didn't really pick programs based on what, you know, skill set they were teaching. I really believe, and I firmly believe now, that it's not about one method. It's about getting as much as you can into this little toolkit and put them in your pockets, and whatever you need, you need. And even if you don't need it, that's okay. Like, if you've got the role and everything and you don't need to dig deep and find whatever, good, you know, kudos to us. But if you do, and you need help and you need to explore and expand, then you need to take as many classes as you can and as many methods, because you never know what's going to help in the moment.
Right.
So I did go to, I ended up going to the New School for Drama, or at that time it was called the Actor Studio Drama School, which was affiliated with the New School University. And I didn't, you know, I was hesitant, to be honest. I was hesitant because they were the method school. And there was a part of me that was like, you know, method has a bad, not just a bad name, because you have to have good teachers. So it's not just, you know, it's about the teaching and it's about the craft, but it's also, there's this horrible underlying thing that's there that almost is called like crying for credit, which is what people used to talk about it, because it was like they broke you down to build you back up and you had to cry. And I was like, you don't have to cry. Like, crying is too easy. Like the fighting, the crying, like having the real emotion is what we're going for. So call it the method, call it whatever. But I asked to sit in on a class and loved it. And, you know, they welcomed me, and I was like, let's see. And I actually had amazing teachers who also stood with the same thing like me. And they said, you know, it's not just the method, and here's the Meisner, and here's the Stanislavski, and here's what, you know, let's do these exercises, improv. And like, that's really what it was about for me. So I stayed and I loved it. And it's not about the program, it's about your educators, and they were, for me, they were phenomenal.
Excellent. So you had a great time there, huh?
I did. I would have done if there was a PhD in acting, I would have done it. But, you know, I wanted to do the performance side. Like, I know there's PhD in like theater history and all that lovely stuff. But for me, it was, you know, I love doing other things and in the theater world, but I primarily were on the acting track. So I wanted to get as much as I could get.
Oh, and you have, you can see this in you, that you, every time you're on stage, Zoe, I never see, I can't explain it. I never see what they call hesitation or indicating. And a lot of times when you see an actor doing that, it just really ruins you as an audience member. You sit there and go, okay, are they here or are they there? You never, I don't know how you do it, and you maintain it. And even one time when you were doing, Garrett the Blue Giraffe, a woman literally fell out of her seat into the aisle. She was like reaching for something. She was on the end. I was sitting in the last row in the Manhattan Repertory Theater, and I was up in the last row, and she was in the row in front of me, and she was doing something in her purse. She literally fell in the aisle. You didn't miss a beat. You didn't, I don't know if you saw it.
I vaguely remember you telling me that, but I don't think I clocked that when I was performing.
Like, my God, they're rolling in the aisle. She's going to laugh. She's going to say something. I'm thinking, what's going to happen?
If I'd seen it, I would have used it. I mean, like, shouldn't we do that?
Oh, no, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Zoe has something special for us today.
Oh, I do I? No,
I asked. This is Determined Women, and I'm determined to get you to share something wonderful with people that are watching. A lot of our audience are young actors. A lot of our audience are theater people who are starving right now. And this is Zoe's little gift to us. Determined Women, Zoe Anastassiou. What is the title of this piece?
So I thought maybe I'd do a little excerpt from a piece called Inside, which I actually wrote a long time ago to audition with. I don't consider myself a writer in like full-length plays or full scripts, but I used to write little characters, I guess. And it took me a very long time to say that I actually wrote it, because I felt like walking into an audition saying it was written by me was a little bit of an advantage, and I shouldn't do that. So I stopped. I had like a pen name for like years and years and years, and I kept adapting it. And then I realized, like, why not? Who cares now? Whatever. But I never finished this play, but people thought that it was a real play. It's for an Australian character. For some reason, it works better in Australian accent. I don't know why. And she's just up against this adjudication panel. And every time I do it, who knows what comes out, but I've got a kind of gist of what it is. But yeah, it's called Inside by me. Yay.
There we go.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you want me just to go for it then?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I apologize in advance. This is a bit crazy piece. Okay. I'm never getting out, am I? You look me in the eye and you honestly tell me I'm not a nutcase. Go on. You can't, can you? Because you do, you think it. You think that I am a nutcase. Say it. Say it. You just don't come near me. Don't touch me. I'm okay now, all right? I'm just tired of living here with all these crazy people. I'm tired of taking my medication. It does shit. Like, I just want to get out of here. Could you just let me go? No, what? I'm a threat to society. I'm 5'2". I'm a mother. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait, shut up a second. Am I a mother? Am I a mother? Holy. What pills did you give me? What pills? I'm a fucking mother. No, no, I can't do that. No, I don't want to get out now. I'd like to stay here, if that's okay. And if you could just give me some more of those pills so I could just forget everything that I've just, you can take me back. You can take me back now. Thanks.
Woo! Woo! Oh my God. You know,
crazy piece.
So real, Zoe. You are so real that I wanted to respond to you. I sat here and I
You should have just reached.
No, when that happens in the audience, that's like some of the most magical moments, when you're so intense watching the show and it's like, oh my God. You know what? I remember seeing Agnes of God on Broadway when I was in college. And I remember Amanda Plummer doing something like that to me right at the audience. And I just freaked out, you know, but that connection, that is that mystical, that is that magical connection. And
that's what we love. I mean, that's what we want you to be like that.
God, I know. And that's wonderful. You are absolutely fabulous. Absolutely. We should talk, because I have a play very similar to that about a young artist.
You're a better writer than me, so write me. It's just, you know, like that. I would love to do something like that.
It's called The Guardian, the Therapist. You'll love it. You'll love it. But enough of that. see, when I'm around her, I get so creative. I have to like, say, okay, let's do something.
I know, I miss our meetings where we can just chat. I mean, I know we're chatting right now, but you know.
Well, speaking of our audience, kind of advice could you give young actors and actresses, especially females? There's a lot of talk. There's been a BBC special out on the audition. I don't know if you saw that one.
No, I haven't seen that, but I've heard about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very powerful, and it's like, we've all had one of those defining moments where somebody absolutely humiliates you at an audition. And I don't know if you had this, but I have, and I actually wasn't allowed to finish what I was doing at an audition once. And it's so painful to have somebody stifle you and, enough, go ahead, next, that kind of a thing. What kind of advice could you give? And I'm talking specific advice. If you're in an audition and you have that moment that's debilitating and they're ready to get you and they're torturing you, what would you say?
It's funny that you bring that up because I love to audition, and I've rarely had the stifling moments, to be honest, to be completely honest. But time, when you're in the cattle call mode and you get like the allotted time, they shut you down, or they don't even have to use their words. Sometimes they are distracted because they're typing up notes from the last audition they saw. And I think that we all have this weird thing that happens when we audition. And I would love to teach a class about this, actually, even though I don't consider myself a teacher at all. And I think for me, it's strange, but I really don't put any pressure on auditioning. So if somebody stifles me and says enough, or that feeling of humiliation should come over me, it actually doesn't. So my advice is that it's not about them putting you down. It feels like it's putting you down, but you have to walk into that room with nothing to lose, because you never had this role to begin with. It was never yours. So you walking in, all you have to do is get something in return. So basically what I mean is that you have nothing to lose, but you have something to gain. And that gain is a bonus and a gift. And there's 1 million people going for the same thing, and they don't look like you, or they do look like you, or they could be even a different gender, like who they don't know, but they want to cast that role. So they're not against you. So even if they say a horrible thing because they've had a bad day, or who knows, the reason is we don't know what's going on in their heads. So if they're stifling, maybe they've had like a horrible thing happen, like I don't know, but that's not going to be personally put on me. So even if I don't get to finish my piece, which I would love to do because it's a chance to perform like that, this is a chance to perform. So that's why I love auditioning. You walk in as you don't put on, there's no rules, there's no, you have to touch the door and step this way and look them in the eye and blah. Forget all that. Just be yourself. Do your best in the moment, because they're your audience. There you go. You're not in your room doing it. Like it's live. And if they shut you down and don't let you finish, oh well, whatever. I mean, I got to meet them. They saw a glimpse of it, and maybe I'll see them again. Maybe I will. So like the advice, I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of, I know people have nerves. I know. And I don't have that. I get excited. I don't get I get the adrenaline thing. I don't ever get the sick feeling. So I know that I'm blessed in that way, but I don't think it has to be that way. I think that there's too much pressure put on, and there's all these seminars of what to do and what not to do. And I think it gets into people's heads. And the worst thing for us as an actor is to be in our heads, because we want to be present in the moment. Absolutely. And, and even if you do the wrong line, or even if you see them in the corner of your eye, because you're not, completely lost in your character, you do have that weird, you're clocking things. And maybe the casting director looks at her phone, and that's not a bad thing. So just acknowledge it. Use it, and that's it. And if it doesn't go your way, it doesn't go your way. And if you do the worst audition, you yourself only know that. If you think you've done the worst audition ever, doesn't matter, because you never you never had that role. That role is just there.
Wonderful advice. Now, what about advice for today with these
well, the female part to that I think is hard. I think again have been pretty blessed, and maybe because I am so open and people talk to me and say things, and I don't judge. I don't think I give that air off. So I know that people open up, and I have noticed before we got shut down by the pandemic, there was a shift in the audition room, in the audition waiting room to be specific, and it was this weird feeling where the women in the room felt like they were being watched by the men in the room. And if there was a female casting director, it was different to a male casting director. And I'm going to get in trouble for saying this because I appear to be anti-feminist or whatever that is, but I don't think it has to be. I don't think we have to live in a world with just women. Don't write plays with just women. I know it's our time, but it shouldn't be about that. Like, I watched people's plays that were great, and we were, auditioning for them, and then they had a male role in it, and then suddenly we hit this, Me Too movement and whatever era we're in, and they remove the male roles. But it's not about that. It's not like, it shouldn't be about that. So I think there's a weird thing that we have to prove ourselves as a woman, and especially in auditioning. And if it's a male casting director shutting you down, like stifling, as you say, I think it hits harder in a way. And it shouldn't, because it's the same. So I think you have to let go of all, like, I know it's a weird place, but be strong to who you are, and trust that you are going in with it.
That's good advice, to take that nervous energy and turn it around into excitement,
Yeah, because we're auditions are weird. That's not natural. It is not a natural, even when you're doing a scene with the reader, you don't know them, you've never rehearsed them with them, it's all, and you can make any choice that you want. It could be the worst choice, but if you don't go in there with a choice, then you're just grasping, and like that they want to see that. They don't want to see that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Zoe Anastassiou, for being on Determined Women. What's up next for you? Give us a little plug. Where can we see you?
What's next? I've just been asked to do a little bit in Visible Ink, which is a wonderful company that puts on a show with the Sloan Kettering cancer patients, and they get to write pieces and they perform them. And I met them I met them last year, or before the pandemic, and their show got stopped because of the pandemic. So they've done virtual stuff now, and they get fantastic. These cancer patients get to write whatever they want. They get mentored by fantastic, Tony Award winning people, and then these wonderful actors put it on. So they're doing another one of those. The company is called Visible Ink, and I've just been given my part, so I haven't started yet, but I'm thrilled to be a member of the upcoming event. I actually don't know, so I don't know which. It's coming up soon. It's virtual, obviously, but
visibleink.com or
I should know that. Yes, it's Visible Ink, but we'll find out the exact.
Zoe Anastassiou, thank you so much.
Thank you.
A determined woman. We need great women, and we need great actors. We need great artists. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Cheers.